Stream. Your audio still looks good. Let me pull up my notes again. I guess I. Oh no, they're over here. Cool. Make sure everything's on the same screen. Well, no, that's not gonna work out. Multitasking. All right, say hi, Joey.
Hi, Joey.
Okay, you look beautiful. So,
Well, thank you. You're now a black screen, but I know that you're a handsome, handsome ma'am, so.
All right, so welcome to the fourth try of the Average Shows Movie Club Cast Live, Godzilla versus King Kong talk. And yeah, we're gonna do it this time. We had some OBS studio problems. If anybody's into live streaming, they might know the woes we've been facing. But let's just get this done. So sorry, for all the trouble, but let's just get to the point this time. All right, so Godzilla versus Kong. Checked it out after got home with the boys from Scouts. The kids were actually all sleeping by the midway point of the movie. I had to wake my oldest son up. I'm like, watch this battle actually go down now, and yeah, he was interested at that point. So how about you? How you watched it with your roommate?
Watched it with the roommate when I got home from work. He waited all day for me to get off work so we could watch it. Thankfully, so there's that. But no, we were both pretty hyped going into it.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. I actually thought it was going to come out 2 weeks ago for some reason. I had in my mind that 2 weeks ago, and then I was like, oh, it's going to come out this week. No, 2 weeks later, then finally, last night, HBO Max. Yeah, baby. So did you miss the whole movie theater experience?
I mean, I work right across the street from a grocery store, so I rolled in there, picked up some candy and stuff. It was still, even it being at a grocery store that's a little more expensive, it was still cheaper than like 1 ounce of drink at the movie theater. So there was that. Like I missed having the huge screen and like the sound system, but we need to pause for whatever reason, or we can pause. Like that part is much better. But there is something about going to a theater. But I probably I might have would have went to the theater. I mean, there's so much good stuff on HBO Max at $15 a month. Like, why wouldn't you?
For sure. I share it with my dad, so it's even simpler for me. He's been using my Netflix for years, and I pay for Criterion Channel and Amazon Prime. So I borrow that Showtime and HBO from him. So little social streaming sharing. That's what it's called. Yeah, buddy. All right, so let's go. I guess coming into this, I think I want to say I was Team Kong, but I was kind of flip flopping throughout. How about you?
I mean, like the whole team thing. Like, I just wanted the movie to be really awesome. Plus, even though I didn't see the first trailer, I knew that the big spoiler was in the movie, and they literally
Really?
even for so yeah. So even someone who's not a giant King Kong Godzilla fan, like I've seen the newer ones, I haven't really seen any of the old ones. Like I knew who the bad guy was. I knew that it was gonna have this Batman versus Superman team up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So like Team Kong versus which one or the other. I can't really say I was either, because I just wanted to see the movie. But the thing that intrigued me the most was how was Kong gonna compete against like the nuclear radioactive breath? Because like Ghidorah had it. So the other creatures in like Kong King of the Monster or Godzilla King of the Monsters or just Godzilla, they had some stuff to deal with that. a little bit more. So the axe, which he ends up getting near the end of the movie, was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And if anyone's out there, you want to say if you were Team Kong or uh, Team Godzilla, love to hear that. All right, so let's get into this movie. So, yeah, it opens up on Kong. It says they're on Skull Island, and gosh, this was it Adam Wingard, right? Was the
That sounds
director?
that sounds correct.
He's really into these like shots of like the sun like peering through like whatever, like just really blinding shots of the sun throughout.
Yeah, no, he definitely had some good shots of that kind of stuff going on throughout the movie. Um,
Yep. So Kong did a little yawning, get going for the day. He scratched his butt and took a shower, right? And he's just like, yeah. We find out we opening up the movie Truman Show style as he throws that steak up into the ceiling to kind of show that, yep, yeah, I know that I'm being watched.
and that's the first time also we see, I think it was her name Jai or something like that, that you see her. She has the Kong doll. That that becomes pretty relevant later on throughout the movie.
So
So
So Kong
I'll
Skull Island's pretty fresh in your mind, right? Because I hadn't seen that movie in years. So like none of this like Kong on Skull Island like in the opening of this movie made like any sense to me.
no. Like unless I literally missed something watching like the end of that movie, like that movie ends in like right after the Vietnam War. So there is no dome or anything. He was just on the island. I guess they
Mm-hmm.
came back at some point. They did mention that he saved the girl when like the storm that was keeping people out or lost inside of it. Skull Island like finally crashed on the island and killed all the humans but that one girl.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't ever address how they got him in the dome, or like how the dome existed, or anything. They mentioned
Mm-hmm.
in King of the Monsters, they mentioned Skull Island a few times, and then in the credits they show you like Kong jumping towards Godzilla, kind of like a cave painting. But
Right.
they never addressed. They just, I guess, kind of assumed, oh well, they captured him somehow. I mean, okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I do like that how they aged Kong. Like you could tell that he was older, and then they mentioned that he was still growing in Kong Skull Island. They made him look a little bit older, and had been through some stuff. So
Right. And so
I,
yeah, well, I guess the deaf girl signing to him, that was a really good way to actually like humanize him. And I think the movie, yeah, I mean, we follow Kong on this whole like journey to the center of the earth kind of quest. Because the humans think what the center of the earth is like going to be like the answer to understanding what Zilla's all about, I guess.
well, it's the Hollow Earth theory, which they had been talking about the last two movies. That the Earth is actually hollow, and that's one of the reasons like Godzilla can get around the world in the ocean so quickly, is he's using like these vortexes, which you kind of see. They're in a sub and get like sucked into his home, and that's when Ken Watanabe, sets off the nuke to recharge him
Mm-hmm.
in King of the Monsters. So in this one, they talk about so Alexander Skarsgård's character talks about how his brother died from the gravitation. Um, so essentially, that's the plan. They want to go down there and get that energy source. It has the same energy because he attacked the Pensacola site that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want to go get that same energy source, which you find out for later. It's at the top like we normally do, but we do discuss everything in detail, and it's going to be spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, this might be a good time to like back away.
Yeah, we'll watch it
Um,
on HBO, HBO Max. And join later on. Yeah, Average Joe's is all about just discussing the crap out of everything we watch. So, sorry, no restraint on spoilers.
So yeah, so essentially what caused him to attack was where they had started building Mechagodzilla, um, which turns out to be the actual big bad in the movie. A la, was it Doomsday and Batman versus Superman?
Yeah,
Is that right?
pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, but no Gal Gadot. I'd have been happy with Gal Gadot, but whatever, that's different. Um, so yeah, they do the journey through the center of the earth thing, but we'll get there. That's a little bit further away.
Yeah, Apex. So they're located in Hong Kong and Pensacola. I got a big crack out. So Godzilla shows up and he goes and crashes that Apex facility there in Pensacola. I guess because he feels threatened. I coming into this, I had no idea what like I was getting into. But like as soon as I saw that like red eye thing, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a Mechagodzilla kind of thing. So and I was happy to see that I was right.
I mean, yeah, they didn't try to hide it, like because like Carl, said he watched like the first teaser trailer and they gave away Mecha Godzilla, and
Oh,
he said he was less pissed about it once he started watching the movie because it was like 5-10 minutes in and it's like, oh well, it's Mecha Godzilla. Um,
okay.
so
I guess I must have
yeah,
not watched many of the trailers for this.
I didn't watch any trailers, but I don't think that's a secret like that. I don't watch trailers, so for that exact reason that it was the fucking teaser trailer that was like, oh, here's Mecha Godzilla in a movie that's supposed to be Kong versus Godzilla. So
Mhm.
why is it so? In what 5 years ago is when Superman versus Batman came out, whatever. Why in these versus movies it is billed as this versus this, but we're gonna add this other scenario in here? It's like, bro, I didn't come for Mecha Godzilla. Like that could have been a whole separate other movie. Now this movie
Sure.
was good and it worked very well, but like I came for Godzilla versus Kong, and thankfully they gave us more than the 5-second cock tease that they gave us in Batman versus Superman.
Mhm.
The underwater fight was cool. The fights in Hong Kong at the end were fantastic.
Yeah, I loved all that neon,
Oh yeah, it was very very
which worked
vibrant and
really well
colorful.
against what Godzilla's like blue, like what his atomic power.
Yeah, and the blue axe too.
Yup, yup.
Yeah.
So to rewind a little bit, I enjoyed how like the opening credits had like the whole like basically like a March Madness kind of tournament thing where it showed Zilla, he defeated what Ghidra, and showed Kong, he defeated something else, and then it was just Kong and Godzilla, and it said versus to start to kick things off.
I thought that was really cool too. Especially seeing as like when I did my review for King of the Monsters, it was just like it's time for the blah blah blah. But
Um,
they also, I thought it was funny. So like Kong had defeated like the Skull Crushers and then like the Skull Munchers, Eaters, whatever they called them, and then like the big one. But then there's Kong. It's like, well, he's beaten or Zilla. He's beaten two Mutas, Ghidorah, Rodan, probably Behemoth, like, and just all these other monsters. And so it's like, well,
Mothra.
he beat Well, no, Mothra is his friend. Mothra is his ally.
Okay.
Yeah, Mothra is queen of the monsters. She's the one, like healing Godzilla and like fighting Rodan when Rodan is like under Ghidorah's control or influence or what have you. So
Thought Apex was a funny name for the company, since obviously they were trying to make the ultimate Apex Predator, which I hinted at in my Letterbox review lead, and you also mentioned in your Letterbox. I was wondering if you were to see if I asked me if I plagiarized or not.
oh, call themselves Apex. I think they even said Apex Predators. I was just like, how many times is Randy Orton like gonna try to sneak his name in this movie? Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean, I mean, it makes sense. They're Titans, they're Apex Predators. Like, we get it. That's, the whole thing was alphas in King of the Monsters. That was the whole thing in this one was if you get Kong, take Kong off of Skull Island, Zilla's gonna come for him. So that's how it goes sometimes.
It cracked me up that like a whole contingency of the. I mean, that's the big cliche about these movies, right? Is everyone's waiting for the big monster beat 'em ups, and then meantime we spend all this time with these like characters that no one cares about. I wouldn't go that
Oh,
far, but the fact that like part of the contingency was what a podcaster, the kid from Deadpool 2, which I guess is a weather chaser based on his vehicle, and then what the general's daughter, and they're just doing their own little investigating around Apex and getting a lot of access pretty
well,
easily.
it was the dude's brother's van because he straight up said, "My brother's going to kill me for us taking his van,
Ah,
or
okay.
if we scratch it." And not the general's daughter, the director's daughter. I mean, the only two characters that have really, well, Ken Watanabe was consistent. He was in Godzilla and King of the Monsters until he died. Um, so you have Millie Bobby Brown and her dad back from King of the Monsters. And so she's a few years older. I think it's 3 years older. So now she's like in like definitely in high school. Um, and they definitely steal this van to go track down this like crazy podcaster who works for Apex and is basically trying to get secrets and stuff from the inside.
Yeah,
And
because he works in like he says he's working in like engineering or something, so he has a little bit of access, and he's like sneaking around.
Yeah, and he during the evacuation went into somewhere he wasn't supposed to, and he definitely saw the red eye for
Mechagodzilla.
Mechagodzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so then they go break back into the Apex facility and they end up hiding in a shipping container that has like the skulls crunchers from Kong, uh, Skull Island, and then that thing actually ends up on like an underwater monorail from Florida all the way to Tokyo, or not Tokyo, Hong
Hong
Kong.
Kong, yeah.
Yeah,
So, did we already mention that first attack with Godzilla taking on Apex because he felt threatened?
I mean, I think we did slightly. Yeah, he felt threatened, and that's why he attacked, and then everyone's freaking out, and Apex is using that as a reason. And of course, Millie Bobby Brown's dad is, or Madison's dad is, his love hate relationship has went back to hate. Oh, animals can change, blah blah blah, and he tells her to go home, and that's when she goes home and does the whole thing. Goes off on her own and ends up in Hong Kong very unexpectedly. And I think while that's going on is when we've seen Alexander Skarsgård's character. He's been approached by the leader of Apex. Hey, we need you to leave an expedition,
Mm-hmm.
and then you find out that the guy that's with the leader of Apex, that's Sir Ken Watanabe's character's son,
Ah,
Surazawa, I believe is how it's enunciated. And then they make him an offer. He accepts. So he goes and talks to King Kong Whisperer, which is the caretaker of the Iwi girl who doesn't speak.
yep.
And he convinces her to like, hey, let's take Kong out of here. Let's take him to Antarctica. He'll lead us through, et cetera, et cetera. So they
Yeah,
have him.
because they say the center of the Earth theory or whatever. That's like basically what happened was Skull Island was like that, like getting pushed up into the surface somehow, and yeah, they have that whole like Kong. That's family home there, and that's how they talk him into it. Um,
Well, once they're in Antarctica, but
right.
before that, they just have him sedated, and it's like, how much drugs do you have?
Yeah, I was kind of
To,
bummed to see it like instantly cut to like him like knocked out on this like huge tanker ship. I would have been a little curious to see what went into actually getting him there. I mean, we get the helicopter hammock later on with crating him off to the convenient hole there that goes to the center of the earth. Um,
yeah,
what
after everything.
I got a kick out of yeah. So like I guess they picked Pensacola as the city because it's like right there on the Gulf. But like they show like this wide shot of like this like emergency tents and stuff, and then this big city in the background. I'm like, that's a big city, but I'm pretty sure that's not Pensacola. I've been there a few times. I mean, I'm pretty sure they just kind of did some kind of whatever CGI city from the on the coast there. So correct me. I mean, call me out if you know that you think that looks like Pensacola, but I'm pretty sure that was just a little CGI cityscape there from the coast.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, because they probably. Well, why would they actually go to Pensacola to film when they were filming wherever they were filming? Of course, it was probably some movie magic.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Makes it look
so
all
just,
sexy.
I mean, because I'm sure that Godzilla and Kong really fought in Hong Kong and just totally destroyed that city.
Well, okay, come on. This was just a wide shot of a place. I mean, obviously they didn't have huge monsters, wrecking places for real. Come on now, give me a break.
I'm just saying, it's like you're like, oh, that isn't really Pensacola. Like, who the fuck would know that? Like, unless you have been to Pensacola apparently many times as you have, or you live there.
Yeah.
So
It's just rare that like I know a lot of people like to complain like there'll be like movies in like New York and like they'll be driving around and be like, oh, that's not really how you drive around the streets of New York. So this just happened to be an instance where like I've been to Pensacola and I'm like, that's not what Pensacola looks like. All right, let's move
right, I
on.
mean that's fair. That's fair.
All right, so yeah, we hear all about this journey to the center of the earth because yeah, they need Kong to lead them down there because they think he has some kind of origins down there, which he has some pretty strong origins down there. But yeah, let's get to the first fight. So, which I really enjoyed. So,
I kept
yeah,
trying to get to it, and you kept just wanting to talk about other stuff. I was all like, they destroyed all the ships. Well, why did we destroy all the ships? Because they fucking fought. Like, but okay, let's go.
let's go. Yeah, I really enjoyed the. So Godzilla shows up, and they got the whole like armada with Kong kind of like drugged up. And so, yeah, Godzilla starts attacking, and at first they're like, no, we'll screw up the mission if we release Kong. Our human weapons will be just fine against Godzilla, because that's been a thing in the past, I guess. But,
No, they haven't learned in 2 movies and 3 if you want to count the Kong Skull Island, where Sam Jackson didn't learn. Like, human weapons don't work. They tickle them, maybe make them a little angry, but
tickle me, Godzilla.
and this is the right before the fight is where you learn that he can sign with the girl and that he can communicate and that he didn't want her mom or her foster mom to know.
Hmm.
And then we get into the fight and Alexander Skarsgård underwater releases Kong and
Finally.
Kong flips the ship back over. Uh, and they fight on top of the ship. They fight underwater. Kong almost gets drowned.
Yeah, he pukes up some
Um,
water at one point whenever they release what depth charges in order to get Zilla to release him from all the way underwater.
yeah, and then they end up like he ends up like running across the top of the ships till he gets to like the big aircraft carrier, and and then Godzilla comes back up and they're like on the aircraft carrier together, just fighting. But this was definitely just kind of like the teaser. So like if you wanted to like compare it to something, this would be like the on like an episode of Monday Night Raw or whatever wrestling show you want to watch, where they come out at the end of the show one week and fight to set up the pay-per-view match or the match the next week. Is kind of what that reminded me of.
Well, I enjoyed it because, I mean, clearly Kong was at a disadvantage because Zilla can swim. So, like, there's a lot more tension there because, I mean, it's not just two huge monsters, like, pounding each other in a city kind of on equal playing field. I mean, Kong was clearly at a disadvantage, which kind of added this whole little bit of extra tension. It was cool seeing him, like, hop from ship to ship. And then, yep, he had to play dead there in order for Zilla to leave him alone. So that was a convenient way to let's put things on pause.
And not even he had to play dead because he was pretty much KO'd. They had to like shut off all the ships and
Mm-hmm.
not make any noise. So yeah, that was like I don't know how much that actually would have worked, but that's what set it up. It's like, well, as soon as we cut the ships on, Godzilla's going to come back. So somehow out of nowhere, they now have an armada of helicopters and a drugged Zilla or drugged Kong in a humongous net.
Yep. Nice
Yeah.
hammock. Keep
Yeah.
Big Monkey comfy. But he doesn't wake up until he lands on the ground. He's like, oh, it's kind of cold now. Because they in Antarctica, and it's time for journey to the center of the Earth time. They make a
Yes.
big deal out of those little the ships. They're like, we have these ships that can go to the center of the Earth, and they're fast, and they're these amazing ships. And I'm just like, uh-huh, I don't
Well,
care.
because remember that Skarsgård's brother died going in there the first time. He was squashed, like crushed instantly on the gravity inversion, which they show when they go through and they're about to just literally slam into the ground, even in the ships. So that's where the big deal that, and the daughter's just basically showing off that her daddy's got money and they're in Apex and they're the hot shit, kind of deal. So
We have a Carla in the chat. Thanks so much for saying hi. Do you know Carla, Joey?
yes, that is an old friend of mine.
Aw.
Yeah. So
All right. So yeah, it was funny. I listened to the Jeremy Johns review of this movie, and he was talking about how they're Kong, like the big part of this movie he didn't care about was that Kong had a fetch quest that was just like Thor from Infinity War, which is not really that far off, saying that he does like go on this quest to get this superpowered axe. So a little bit of a lack of originality there, I guess.
but the difference is like Thor had a hammer that was destroyed and knew, like, you knew as the audience he was going there to get an axe. We didn't know exactly what Kong was going to do in the center of the earth,
Right.
and he wouldn't have needed to use the axe until Godzilla, who, in while we're down in the underworld, haha, the underworld, whatever, he's on the regular Earth, and he is heading beelining straight for Hong Kong because we've seen Mechagodzilla tested. We've seen how they're piloting the Mechagodzilla, which is Serizawa's kid, is like in some sort of device that lets them talk telepathically while inside of the skull of Ghidorah,
Yeah.
which was showed being purchased by Tywin Lannister at the end of King of the Monsters.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Monster Zero. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
that was an interesting twist to kind of instead of it like being a piloted like mech, it to be controlled telepathically via the kaiju powers or whatever. So a little bit, I guess, more unstable, which is kind of how it leads to it kind of messing up for them.
Well, yeah, because they finally, we go back to Hollow Earth and they do find the power source because Hawk, it's the axe, and then he lays it into the ground to like recharge it, and
Yep.
they try to steal it, and then
His
they
own
start
docking
getting attacked.
station.
Yep,
And he had his own
basically.
throne too, and he had his own little paw print there to open the door. It's so homey for him. It's like he'd been
Well,
there
yeah,
before.
but I mean, he is the king. He is King Kong, and he bows to no one.
There you go. All
So,
right. So, remember the days when people used to complain about these big blockbusters and how everyone was mad that all these innocent people would die in these towns or whatever? But it's a big silly action movie. So
I mean,
they're still doing that.
well, I mean, remember they always in these movies show them being evacuated. They're always being evacuated. Now, obviously, some people die. That's why the thing happened in San Francisco in the first Godzilla. But they did make a thing of Hong Kong being evacuated, because they knew he was heading there. Now, you only got a few hours to evacuate a humongous city. I don't think that goes super swell, but that is movie logic, movie magic.
The one time it actually did phase me was I was watching Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, and whenever like Hulkbuster and Hulk are like rampaging through that city, like there's like scenes where like glass is like shattering into these huge like crowds and stuff, and I was actually feeling that a little bit there. I was like, whoa, watch out, people.
Oh well, yeah, and that's the thing. They let Scarlet Witch get into Hulk's head. He goes berserk, and Tony's got to do what he's got to do. Also, speaking of Hulk, like where's Hulk needs to be in this movie, like
Mm-hmm.
into Thor Ragnarok, but big monster. Well, there's his big monsters. Let's see how he fares.
Yeah, so were you getting some Rampage vibes from seeing well, so let's see, Godzilla like blasts his nuclear ray conveniently down to the center of the Earth, so Kong can be like, all right, let's fight. So yeah, little Rampage vibes there. I saw a couple memes floating around about that.
The only meme I really saw was like who would win in a fight, and it was like Kong, the ape from Rampage, and some other ape that I was not familiar with at all. And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, these
There's
other
a
guys are
wolf too,
chumps.
right?
Oh no, this wasn't, I guess, a Rampage meme or like the game. It was the ape from the Rampage the movie, which I have not seen. But
Okay.
um, it's like, but none of them are King Kong, and none of them have a the axe did lead to probably like the coolest scene in the whole movie, but we'll get there. We're almost there. So
Yeah, but yeah, that neon Hong Kong skyline and Zilla lit up all blue. That looked pretty awesome, and we get exactly what we want finally with the two giant monsters going head to head there. And what King Kong kind of gets the edge, and what Skarsgård just like, it looks like round two into Kong, and then like a few seconds later, what Zilla puts him on his ass and actually smiles in his face, which I got a kick out of.
oh yeah, he was about to just like straight kill him. Um, like he had the breath going and everything. Like Kong put up a good fight. Like he definitely had the mobility advantage. Um, but then once he puts Kong on his ass, that's when everything goes crazy. Because now Mechagodzilla isn't being controlled by a human.
Yeah, because they took
He's
the part of the core from like with the because they needed like a way to power give them the extra little boost of power, so they steal that. Um,
and transmit it from the middle of the Earth to the
oh yeah,
surface of the
it was
Earth
like a download.
in like seconds. I'm like, bro, best Wi-Fi, like it, like what the hell they got going on? Like that's absolutely ludicrous. And that
And
was
then
right before I, they're trying to fly away, and Kong grabs their heave and looks in it and sees who it is and just crushes it. I was just like, well, that's what you get for being dicks and stealing his power.
yeah, that was a laugh out loud moment whenever he smashed smashed those folks up in that plane. That was good stuff there.
So yeah,
Um,
and now by the time we're getting ready for the next part of the fight where Mechagodzilla shows up, Skarsgård, the lady scientist Rebecca Hall, I think,
that sounds
and
right.
yeah,
You
and
talking
then
about when we get to the
well,
king size defibrillator,
well, yeah, well, not quite. I was saying they have flown through the hole
right?
to be back on the Earth's surface. So, and then yeah, there's
And then yeah, Mecha. So I guess so. What is the reasoning for Godzilla actually going after Godzilla? Is the fact that he has like Monster Zero like brain in him?
I mean, that's part of it, but he was also programmed to be the anti-Godzilla, a human's own Titan to stand against the King of the Monsters is essentially what it was. It was supposed to be kind of like a defensive weapon, but obviously this guy was nuts and wanted to use it as a very offensive weapon and be able to use the attack that they obviously created as a reason to kill him and to make humans the apex species once again.
Yeah, that was another one of my big laugh moments. Is whenever with the one podcast guy's like, I wanted to hear the rest of his speech because the the Apex leader guy he gets caught monologuing and Mecha Godzilla puts him in his place. So all right, so yeah, now Mecha Godzilla goes after Godzilla and it's kind of kicking his ass a little bit.
There ain't no kinda and there ain't no little bit. He beat the living shit out of him. I mean, he's got rockets for days. He's got like jet propulsion on his back. He's out there just beating this dude. Like he's just putting a hurting on him.
What were y'all's thoughts on like Mechagodzilla's build? Like as like Carl as a hardcore Godzilla fan, like what was his thoughts on like the design of Mechagodzilla?
Actually, I don't think he really said anything. I don't think that actually came up. The only thing we really talked about was that from King of the Monsters to this one, Godzilla looked super chunky. which is fine.
Yeah.
But I feel like they changed how his face looked more than anything, which is what bothered me.
Hmm.
I thought that the Mechagodzilla obviously was as tall and everything, but you're thinking it's like a metal Godzilla, and you've got Godzilla over here, and he's this thick boy, and then like Mechagodzilla looked like it's like yeah, he's tall and he's big, but he ain't that big. But
Yeah, I thought he was a little bit too slender, to be honest.
I mean, hey, Slender Man, that's a terrifying thing. So,
There you go.
um, but yeah, no, he was beating him like he owed him money. So,
All right, let's get to your favorite part.
all right. So we got to go through the defibrillator. We got to do the human defibrillator.
Yeah,
Where
Kong's not feeling so good, so he has to. They gotta get his heart going again.
yeah, well, not the I guess the super defibrillator.
Yeah.
Where they use the ship essentially and like land it and give him a like direct bolt of energy to the chest, and it wakes him back up. He
Oh yeah.
relocates his shoulder, and then the girl tells him that Godzilla is not the enemy, that Mechagodzilla is.
Yeah.
So he goes in to start fighting, sees his axe, picks it up, and he's doing okay. He's got a little bit more mobility, but Mechagodzilla's still kind of getting the better of him, and then all of a sudden Godzilla, and I called it before it happens. I was like he's gonna hit that shit with the breath, a la Thor hitting, doing some Avengers combo shit, and sure enough, he breathes, hits the axe, and then from there on out, King Kong
went crazy on Mecha. He's just tearing him apart.
Oh yeah, no, like
let's not forget the fact that like Mechagodzilla is like about to like drill into Kong's face, and what they spill something on the Mechagodzilla console to like halt the drill.
Yeah, so they're the humans. So you've got the kid who's supposed to be the hacker, but had taken like an HTML course, Madison, and the podcast guy Bernie. They're like sitting there trying to like hack into it and get control of the manifest,
right. And they're trying to figure out the password.
And the dude's like, "Well, I'm gonna drink this whiskey that's from my dead wife," and then the kid just takes it and just like pours it in like through the vents or whatever, and it just instantly just stops Mechagodzilla for like 2 seconds, long enough for Kong to like regain himself, and I think that's when they hit the blast. Onto the axe.
Yeah, pretty soon after that, because it actually gave them a window to do something.
And then from there on out, it was Kong never looked back. He fucked that guy up. There ain't no really other way to go about it. He destroyed him. He just ripped him to shreds. He's roaring. He's the king, etc., etc.
They kind of give each other a nod there at the end. King Kong goes back to Middle Earth, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, he goes back to Middle Earth to hang with the elves and the hobbits. Hollow Earth, he goes back to Hollow Earth, and obviously that is his home, which he had said throughout the movie. That was his home, and he's running around being king, singing like Simba that it must be feel real good to be king.
There you go. And that's the end of the movie. And there's no freaking post-credit scene. What is up with that?
What the fuck, man? I sat there like, all right, there's got to be something to set something up. Like,
well, at least with home streaming, we can hit the fast forward button, so we don't feel like complete idiots when we've sat in there for like 15 minutes and get nothing, like in a theater sometimes.
I think that point, like Carl and I were kind of just talking about the movie and that kind of stuff. So it was whatever, we weren't really fast forwarding. But it's just like, you've given us after credit scenes or something in the after credits in like the last two, like nothing in this one. But I guess not everybody's Marvel. Maybe that's good. Maybe we've just gotten so spoiled on that all the big blockbusters are Marvel movies that they have these after credit scenes, and it's like, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see where they go, because as long as this does well. And as I can tell on my friends list on Facebook and my friends list on Letterboxd, that's all anybody is watching.
I was surprised you wanted to do a cast. I mean, we haven't gotten together to talk about a new movie since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Well, I mean, it's sometimes just with both our schedules, it's hard. I just,
True.
I was I didn't know if we would be able to get it in today or not. It just seemed like, it's the biggest thing going. Um, well, so I mean, I think with HBO Max, we'll probably be able to throw more of either these live ones or just quick cast and put them out there.
I think the last time I bugged you about this, I think we were gonna do it on The Irishman, but I don't think you ever actually got around to seeing that.
No, I own a physical copy of The Irishman, and I have yet to watch it.
All right, so yeah, we got 2 likes on this live stream. This is our first ever live stream. Thanks so much for liking it. If there's anyone out there that wants to ask us questions, go for it. Were you Team Kong? Were you Team Godzilla? Who do you prefer? Yeah, any interaction would be welcome. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we'll probably be wrapping this up soon.
tell us if you think we suck or um, if we don't suck, whatever. We'll take positive and
Joey
negative
says,
criticism.
"Come, bring on the trolls."
No, I don't know what trolls like per se. I just like, hey, I think your opinion sucked for X, Y, Z. Then we can open it up for conversation. Or if there's something we missed, some part that you like that we didn't go over, or something that that you wanted to hear us talk about that we didn't. Feel free. Either while we're still here, hit us in chat, or the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast gmail.com, our Facebook page, all of that. We greatly welcome it, encourage it.
Appreciate everyone coming back after our 3 failed attempts, but we finally got it right. We just had to hit the right sequence of buttons here. But yeah, it was nice to have a nice 40-minute cast that appears to be smooth sailing. Join us in a couple weeks. We'll have our war movie episode where we'll be watching was it Stalingrad, Enemy at the Gates, and then our Wheel of Destiny pick is Maltese Falcon. So that's a couple good picks for episode in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, that's episode 5 for season 3. We did just like 2 days ago put out episode 4, which is From Dusk Till Dawn, and
Last Tango in Paris.
The Last Tango in Paris. I forgot. That's because I tried to block that movie from my memory.
So you want me to do some explaining on this, huh?
Some explaining on.
So I gave Last Tango in Paris 3.5, and I think I gave Godzilla versus Kong 2.5 or 3.5.
No. You gave it 3 or 3.5. Last Tango in Paris at the end of that episode, yes, but you lambasted that movie. Now I understand you're usually not overly critical in your star ratings, but you literally sat there with me and lambasted that movie, and then we're like, oh well, it has these technical good points, 3. And then there's Kong, this movie that you clearly enjoyed, and obviously it's not some revered movie like Last Tango in Paris, which I don't know why a movie where a guy is a complete dick and rapes a girl with butter is a revered movie. But you disliked that movie and gave this movie, which you liked tremendously, like half a star better.
I was okay. I get the criticism. Okay, let me defend myself. Okay, so number 1. With Godzilla versus Kong, I enjoyed it, but I didn't like it as much as Godzilla King of the Monsters. I thought that one was a little bit more badass, so I couldn't give it the 4 stars. I had to get it the 3.5, which is my very good rating. I came out of it thinking that was a very good movie. I came out of Last Tango in Paris thinking that was probably an excellent movie, but I didn't really like it, so that backs it down from a 4 to a 3.5. So that's kind of like how my brain works.
Okay, that's fair. I don't think that movie was a really good movie. Any movie and where some guy is, you can have bad characters in movies. Obviously, that is the whole point.
Yeah, you do not like that. We're talking about Blue Velvet. We're talking about Raging Bull. Joey does not like him some assholes.
Raging Bull, remember, I said was a good movie and was well done, and the character made you hate him. There's a difference between that and Daddy Wants to Fuck. Whatever the fuck Homeboy was doing in Blue Velvet. And also, it wasn't just that he was an asshole, it was that movie fucking sucks. And you can come for me, all you Cronenberg lovers. It's the right person, right? Yeah. All you people on Criterion, like, I know y'all revere that movie. No, that movie fucking sucks. Last Tango in Paris also sucked. They both had characters that were horrible. But, come for me. That's what I want. Please, come for me. Tell me why my opinion is wrong, or why I'm not a cinephile, or whatever it is you want to say. But
Carla enjoyed my Tickle Me Zilla remark.
oh yeah, no, I see that.
That
I
makes me
mean
happy.
that's
That was off the cuff humor. It worked. Bam.
uh
All right. So yeah, I think we've been going on long enough. About 45 minutes after an hour of failures, but yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
oh yes, for sure. This was hopefully next time it shan't be such a CF getting it going. And I like I mean I hopefully it'll be for the new Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, maybe we'll even start to do episodes like this. Who knows?
Oh man, we'll see. Maybe we should work to that. But yeah, definitely. I think this will be this was fun. So hopefully we'll get to do it a little bit more often.
Yeah, more dynamic content for y'all. I mean, we all want you to be part of the movie club cast. We're just a bunch of normal people talking about movies, so we want to hear your opinions too. Yeah. So, Joey, why do we like to? Joey, why do we do this?
Because we love talking about movies.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.